that actually when it comes down with the internet. And what's up, everyone? We are live with EA Koetting and this motherfucker. And I know they don't like that, but here's the thing: Lethanu, I feel like it's going to be a way to bridge that gap. Like, I think it's the first thing I've actually ever seen that gave me hope, like in the digital world. I mean, I know spirits can change like paper and stuff, and obviously they can probably hyper boost a song to be listened to or certain stuff. Like they can do certain things, but as for like algorithm and such, and I still have like my own workings yet to do go deeper with it. So like I'm actually excited for everyone else to be able to hop in on this right at the tidal wave of connecting with him. And
absolutely, yeah. Well, that is an interesting thing because we're right on the peak. We just barely got the internet as a species. Like we just barely got the internet, and we're getting it figured out. But one of the interesting things is I'll have laptops fail, digital cameras that fail, digital audio recorders that fail in my temple, and specifically when I'm in the middle of rituals, my shit will just go out. It'll just pop, and stuff just stops working. Stuff just won't record. Batteries will run out. But a lot of my digital recorders and stuff won't work. It's interesting because as I was building my radionics devices, I kept getting told to go you got to go backwards in technology, go back to analog technology. So even like, your description, dude, I love your description in the radionics spell book of the almost like the reverse radio effect you're doing with radionics, that each crystal is wrapped with wires. Those wires are tethered into your dials. You're turning the dials and you're tuning the frequency of your reality with the reality that you want, that you desire most. And so like but in order to do that, we've got to take a step back to the crystal diode radios. You can't do a digital radio. Similarly, with my television that I've got hooked up to my system, it had to be an old tube set. And so in this way, it's really interesting that we're using really rudimentary technology to have such an amazing effect. But then it is, I know you're working with people, and we can't talk too much about this, but I know you're working behind the scenes with some people to push this even further with integration into online platforms, integration into possibly cryptocurrency and things like that. That there's what we're doing right now. Like you say, we're at the ground level. We kind of did have to take the technology to even get it to work. We had to take it back a couple decades. And now we're bringing it back forward through time. So it is an interesting process.
And I think that is like how the box works as well. It is almost a part of a machine from the future, and we're just got the first part right now. Because not till you understand that will you be able to understand, and maybe that's how UFOs and stuff are. That's at the end of the day, like we might be on the trail for that. Let's go ahead and say hi to the people. I'm going to do my best to rock and roll. What's up, David Law? Thank you for being here. Dan Best, awesome having you here. Zerafina, thank you for being here. And Nina the Mystic, let's go. How are you doing? Awesome. When it comes to that, Lefanu, I did definitely want to. Well, I have it pulled up for the group ritual, and I was gonna kind of let people know what we were planning on, like a little outline. If we should right now, or should we wait on that?
Well, and I'll tell you what. So I've got a. If you don't mind, let's talk a little business. It should be behind the scenes, but we'll just do it in front of the scenes. All right. So I just got off a call with Timothy. I was talking to him about the importance of this falling on an eclipse. But here's the problem: is if we do the ritual on the eclipse, that kind of leaves people just sitting there on the eclipse, not doing anything, waiting for the ritual video to get to them. So here's what Timothy and I have really struck on, and you and I can discuss how we want to arrange this, but we're going to have the videos ready for everybody a week early, so a week before the eclipse. And so we want to have we can arrange the best magical time for you and me to do our rituals. But then what that means is everybody will have their ritual for sure. We're doing it a full week just to make sure people can check through their emails, make sure they have the video. If there's any issues, they can email our help desk or email us and get what they need. If they have any questions, they can get what they need. And then when the eclipse happens, that's when they actually hit play on the ritual video we sent them, light up their candles, and do the ritual on their end on the eclipse. So that's my thought with it, because a good deal of what we're doing with this ritual is we're establishing, and it's already started. We've already started establishing this dragon chalice, and because I know, I don't know if you've been working on your end, but I've been working on my end, and this thing is starting to come together. And dude, I kind of wish that I had better artistic skills, because it's beautiful. But this astral dragon chalice is coming together that we're going to start filling with all these different radionic essences, and then putting the 5 powers that we've chosen for transfiguration in there. But then what that allows them to do on that eclipse is just hit that pump and just take as much as they want, direct that to whatever they want in their lives, or just absorb it. But that way, I mean, does that feel like a good plan?
Actually, that's really cool. Because we're getting a digital file made preset for everyone to be able to hit play on that day, like really getting a bigger hit on that. And
Yeah.
dude, I think that's super solid. And that's just going to change up a little bit how instead of having a week with the different layers of the cake, because as of right now, I've just been feeding energy to Lethanu, just like, hey, this is just the start of the cut, just take this. And then as the weeks go, is that fine if I break down a little bit our
Yeah.
layers to the cake?
Oh,
Okay.
please do.
And then, this is so cool. Like honestly, this is
This is
for
an
me.
exciting this is an exciting ritual. Just as we were planning it, I was getting so excited where like it starts coming together. And I'm like, this is a really, like, just to be involved in this kind of thing is awesome.
Yeah, I feel like it's a part of the personal journey that, like, no matter what, this had to be done type of feeling, and that's badass. So with this dragon chalice, we have 5 powers of transmutation. And the first power, so you can visualize this if you'd like, as this dragon chalice, the first layer of the liquid that's going inside of it. And when I'm just saying what each of these layers are, whatever color you want to put to that, or is there mist coming off of that? But it's going to be your own layer of supercharged dragon chalice power. And so the first power is out of the Ascended Masters, and specifically Saint Germain, who's the patron of Saint of Radionics. And I know, and that doesn't matter if that falls. Rebazar Tars. I definitely want to. So I'm gonna do it as a circuit. One day, one the next, doing that for 6 days, and anything of a download I get, that'll be like right at the beginning of my part of the group ritual. And that's going to be kind of how each of my layers are, where I'm going to give like the gold nugget in which doing that. And then the second power we have is adding the power of the elementals, such as fire, water, earth, air, ether. And I know for an aspect of mine, I'm definitely going to have qi gong. There's different movements for fire, air, water, and the whole purpose will be like the beginning and the end of the day will be to visualize this chalice doing that in front of a machine while feeding the energy of the Thanu in there. And I just feel like that's gonna be like the best way to incorporate that type of energy and such. And I know I'm going to end up having to ask you a question about Saint Germain because you just had a video out about a
Uh-huh.
meditation and such, and but I'll definitely go back to that. But then the third powers is the power from the Necronomicon, a grimoire which is heavily influenced by both of us, and powers such as the ones of Inky, Marduk, Adar, Lugalabita Burr, Girar, and many others. So that will be a really cool layer where we're going to be opening different gates of those energies and pouring that in and using the filter of radionics to add that essence of that energy into the cup for that. And there's even some, I feel like I haven't made contact with that I want to open up my experience with them into this great ritual. So once again, it's just another unlocking door. And then our fourth one we have is the powers of the necromancy and the death essence. And so magic that's going to transcend all veils, dimensions, influencing the past, present, and the future. And I see that as also a great way to just, when we get this, you're going to release any a specific blockage, something that you can hone in on, and maybe it's even something that you haven't been actually going after, like maybe a health thing, eating healthier, something that you're gonna now get an extra jolt of battery to eliminate and destroy. And the fourth one is the power of the dragon of the infernals and all the different demons that we feel called to during this. We're just gonna be giving them energy with radionics. I know I'm gonna be probably blooding a lot of different sigils, just everything to just pump this up at maximum. And I know all in between, from these meditations, even your first thing with Saint Germain, I even feel as
Whoa,
if
whoa, whoa, whoa,
if
whoa, wait. You didn't mention the necromancy, did you?
no, I did number four. Necro
Oh, okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
making sure I got in there because we'll just real quick before we go on to Saint Germain is with the necromancy that's the as we Elle and I sat down on a call and we just asked ourselves and each other the question of like what's this ritual going to be, and it really just started coming to us. The pieces started plugging into place, and the necromancy one got into place, and it was like, what's that doing there? What's the value? And I've really been meditating on that, and a big part of it is in order to become transfigured, in order to step into your next self, there's a sacrifice that needs to be made of yourself. There are things that need to be, the you that wasn't capable of these things, it's time for that you to be laid to rest, and for the true you to rise up out of the grave. And so that is a seal that's there on the kind of tail end. And the way that this is structured, this layer of the cake, the layers are where they exactly need to be for this to have the effect. Dude, this is going to be beautiful. But yeah, Saint Germain, dude, I just barely put out this video. That is such a beautiful meditation and he gave me three main workings that I get into in this book. That one that's just a amplification of your energy, your aura, connecting you with your higher self. So that one I gave away for free over on Odyssey the other day. So you can go odyssey.com/EA Koetting. And then the second one is using that to then contact Saint Germain. And so it's like a furthering of that. And then the third is his process of materialization of something from nothing, and how to visualize something and make it manifest in your life. And so I give those three in this book in incredible detail. But yeah, so did you try that meditation out?
Yeah, I was trying that out, and to me, it feels like it's a great way to also visualize how a radionics box works. And you can literally use that as you're grabbing source into you and then moving it through you. And you're becoming more of the code, and then you also bring your essence and place it out there. Well, if you just do that and you understand that, then it's like, all right, well, same principle machine, and that's gonna help push and amplify that, as well as everything else when it comes to your psychic senses like that. And it's so baffling to me that Saint Germain and Ascended Masters are getting so, I don't know, prevalent when it comes to this tech. It's like, I mean, they're showing themselves like completely, and like even recently, more things about just even the thing knowing like Jesus is connecting to that source, not connecting to the desert monster. You know what I mean? And seeing things a little bit differently into it, the powers of manifestation and creation. So it's like, how do we tap into that? And well, right now, I think the best way to do that is with these boxes, because if you can hardcore focus enough and place that into a box, and that's going to eventually make it manifest, but it will take time. But with the other entities, they're doing things right in front of you. So why not learn how to do it over time, and maybe eventually we can unlock the way to do it right underneath, ta-da, or Al exam, whatever way.
I'll do that 100%. That's where this is heading, is a black box that you then fill with whatever you want to imagine, and open that box, and there it is. Like, that's where this is heading. You imagine what you want, turn the dials, ding, open the box, and there's your whatever you want. So
Dang, dang.
yeah.
I mean, that can be good, and that's the thing. It comes down to, once again, like, what we're going to use this power for. That could actually change humanity in such an epically great way, or just be the absolute, once again, mind controlling, television, television, black screen, scrying bullshit, And so,
Well, so there's all right. We're in 2024 right now. Only 1 century ago, there were my grandma was raised, growing up around that time. Great Depression. Her house had dirt floors. She had her and her brothers and sisters slept inside the drawers in a dresser drawer set, and so they had like little beds that they'd make inside there because they were just so dirt poor that's what they could do for beds. So they'd tuck them in and slide them inside the drawers. And so if she needed to pee when they woke up, first off, because I was like, what if you have to pee? She goes, well, first off, if you got to pee, we'd have to get up, get bundled up, because they were in Illinois, and they'd have to go outside to the outside water closet and go pee out in the water closet. And you're risking bears and all kinds of stuff. I mean, this is just 100 years ago. That was what reality was like for humans for our entire civilization. All of a sudden, 100 years ago, what the fuck happened? Like, all of a sudden, we've got the internet. We're shooting rockets onto the moon. We're talking on this magic mirror that we can talk to anybody we want to talk to across the world. What the hell is going on? This is not the natural progress of humanity. This is intervention. This is technology as we know it is supernatural intervention. But here's the problem with it. As soon as we started getting this technology and rolling with it, we forgot about the spirits. As a culture and a civilization, we forgot where this technology came from and where it was going to. But the originators of it didn't. Tesla, when he was originally doing his first experiments, he was hearing spirits on his devices. That since the very creation of technology, many of the people who were involved in creating this technology were black magicians or sorcerers or shamans, and that were in tune with the spirits. So even because there's this thought of like that we're hijacking technology. I even like that idea, but we're really not. We're finally using technology for what it was intended for. Technology was not intended to bring you the best porn sites or to that kind of thing. No, this was intended to help us ascend. This is one of the big things Satan told us, is he's given us this technology so that we could understand the miracles that we're capable of. And as soon as we understand that, we don't need the phone to be able to have these conversations. We don't need the plane to fly, but we have the plane, we have the phones as a foreshadowing of what we can actually do without the technology. And so
they're using that. We're using crutches versus actually latent abilities that are hidden within us. Yeah. And that's the biggest thing about, I mean, Beelzebub for certain, bringing about that, literally the image of the future of what can be, and it's things that I can't. It's not that like I can see it and understand. I just know it and feel it. Like ways for why isn't there, if they have nanobites, nanobugs and shit, all that. Like why don't we use that stuff to eat trash and to excrete water and fresh air? Like we can make that a technology. Like it's very straight to the point, and it's not. I don't know. To me, things are a lot more simpler, and people have really crummied it up by just
but dude, you just said it there. Like you go to McDonald's, right? You go to McDonald's, you get a burger, you eat the burger, And then you eat the wrapper, and then you eat the napkin because it's all edible and it all tastes freaking good. And then there's nothing. And then you poop out, and rather than just going into a sewer system, it actually gets used as fertilizer to help fertilize the land. You're not supposed to eat crops grown on human poop. I know that, but I'm sure we could figure some stuff out. But like instead, what's all this money being used for? It's war. It's really, and this is what Eisenhower warned about, was the military industrial complex. And it's as soon as they started seeing the amounts, and it's always been known how profitable war is. It's just been shifted. You don't go and kill the guys and take their gold anymore. It's a different kind of taking their gold. You go and destroy their nation, and then make all kinds of money rebuilding the nation that you just destroyed. It's a really ridiculous racket. But that is all right. I'm gonna get a little off track of the radionics topic and kind of go a little meta here. There's a shift. The rise of technology over this last century is happening for a reason. Our whole species is shifting. We're shifting so intensely that very soon, if you have a human now and what we're going to become, it's going to be a different species. And I do think it's going to be. I do think we're becoming a trans-dimensional species, and that some of these aliens aren't from other planets; they're actually from other dimensions, and they're going to start teaching us how to do this shit. And I think our government's already starting to play with it. But I do think as we get to this, there's some sort of invisible wall. We can all feel it in front of us. We're moving. It's like we're like on a conveyor belt moving towards this thing that we can't stop, and it's going to change everything. We can all feel it.
That's I mean that right in and of itself, like we are being pulled to that unveiling and what's beyond there, but I do feel like the multiverse is also real, as well as multi dimensions. And right now is the time where you have to lock into that, in which future that you're seeing and going to, but also it is a elevation of your spirit. And I do believe like they are aliens. That sometimes I do feel like when doing a ritual, it's just like how radionics can affect. If you're aiming it at a target, you don't have to aim. You already hit the target just by locking that in. It's just like an alien spaceship with a type of insectoid, Beelzebub, and just like the black screens connect. You meet at the halfway point. You have that. It's like it's a spiritual thing, but maybe in Beelzebub's eyes, he's like, no, it's just a technological thing that you just don't fully understand yet. That through that fire gateway, through that water, through that blood, whatever it is, it makes the source for communication through that vessel. So it's just mind boggling because it's been shown and tested in my own life, like the real, like how much there is something on the other line and the change of your life through synchronicity and the elevation of character. Like you are making contact with things. And then honestly, with these boxes, it really pushes things to like 2050. It's like, wow, okay, well, now I'm able to contact things and there are entities and stuff going out there. So let's use every bit that we possibly can, and in candles, like when it comes to magic, and this is a thing I love about J.S. Garrett. He just takes everything to the max level. Like that's the way I feel. Like if you really see something that needs to be done, you have to go all in with that and do every single method. And Uncle Chucky, that's why I'm happy we got that one video with him inside the course. Like it's really been a journey with bringing about radionics, and even from the early. I mean, I talk about that in one of my chapters, just like the early history, how they tried to get rid of it, erase it, and push it out, and it's not till later on, till other people started bringing it up. But it's crazy. I really feel like it's going to be something everyone will know about in the next 10 years.
Oh, I mean, for sure. At this point, all of my magic, I've got a device running for everything. At this point,
Hmm.
with Uncle Chucky. Just a little quick side note. I did see that he has started an Odyssey channel, so everybody can go follow him over on Odyssey.
I
Yeah.
know who made it.
Oh, is that not him?
It's not him. Basically,
Oh, dang it.
basically all of his stuff was gonna be taken down, and there was a encrypted file that had all the stuff on his website, but his website is now officially down.
Oh.
So his books and stuff are all gone, but I do have backups of the books, and I know the guy with now all the backups to Uncle Chucky's stuff. So if anyone like really needs or wants something like that, we can definitely make that happen.
Dude,
Just hit up the email.
I don't know. I don't want you to say anything that you're not supposed to say, but can you say anything about what's going on behind that? Like, is he
Uh,
okay?
so from what I've been told and from what I know is basically he's like in a home and he's not really like he's there but he's not there.
Mm.
And that's essentially what's going on. And people have been trying to get a hold of him for a long time, and I guess it's not really been flowing like that. So, yeah, as soon as the website was already to go down, I don't even know how they knew, but someone got a backup of everything, and so I think that's awesome. And the fact they put it on Odyssey so it can stay up and will never be taken down, like that was foresight. I didn't even think to take hold of.
Well, that's, wow, that actually strikes me in a really unique way. Um, that website gets taken down right as we're putting this book out, which this book I've got a chapter that is 100% ripped off of Uncle Chucky. I asked his permission. I asked his permission to use his schematics and stuff, but I 100% I worded it myself, but I took his design and was like, yeah, this is the optimal design for a radionics box. Just wire crystals. I just drew a little schematic and stuff. So I drew my own stuff, but I was 100% taking it from his design because he's got the best design. And then for us to and then for he was in he did a good section in the video training course. Wow, that just I don't know how to explain how that hits me. That hits
It's
me emotionally.
No, I know. I honestly, I can see even the synchronicity with just the fact it got taken down right before, literally within less than a week. Like that's
Mhm.
baffling, but the rejuvenation of it all, the fact that they got it on Odyssey to be able to not get encrypted, and for all this to honestly unfold how it has, I know. At least I'd feel if he was able to cognitively see what we were doing, he would be 10 thumbs up, like with his laugh, like like, yeah, I love it. And like that's been the cool stuff, the helmets, the vampire boxes, the different boxes, just everything. Like it's just been for me like an incredible journey of seeing things work that doesn't make any practical sense why it works. And then there's I'll just go right into it. Connor Kendall, like, hats off, I had a hat because his thing was made it so badass is he talks about why he thinks the technology works. And I know in my portion, I explain it in like a certain way, like a sonar beam that you're tapping into. But he goes down into like the copper of the connecting coil, every single piece on the machine, and he gives like so many rudimentary reasons why that works with it and why that logically makes sense on why it works. And then he goes on to like the color spectrum for like a candle or whatever you want to use and all the colors. And I'm just like, I'm actually pretty blown away in the fact that it's not only just like a radionics, how you make a box, but now you're getting all these like all the knowledge you possibly need with magic, like really, like inside of this book right here, and all the different sigils that he's channeled. I mean, that's just
With
it's incredible.
with a lot of what Connor put in there, I'm reading his stuff and I'm like, you know what? Even if you don't have a box and all you got's a dial, just go get a dial. You can do most of his rituals with a dial because he's like, yeah, put this over here and do this here and do this here and say this here. I'm like, dude, this is a full ritual. And then you're adding in the radionics equipment. So no, dude, he really blew it out of the water. And yeah, the chapter you're talking about, I love that as well, where he does go through and breaks down the different components and how they might, even if it's even if you don't have anything but copper wire, how that can work. Even if you don't have anything but crystals, how that can work. And then you tether it all together. And he's got like, I think like 13 different segments that he actually touches on or something like that. It's like, wow, dude, that's because again, and one of the funny things is that I noticed somewhere in all three of our manuscripts, each of us wrote a little bit about how we weren't really expecting this to work. That we started playing with it, and we were like, I'm not sure if this is going to work. I'm not sure what to think about this. Didn't want to invest too much in it. Just wanted to kind of casually, objectively check it out. And each one of us is just blown away. Like, because we did come into this really skeptical, and probably because all of us have like a strong background in just traditional magic that it just doesn't make sense that turning some dials would have any effect. But holy shit.
Oh, I mean, it started off with one machine, and then like a year later, after I had it, and I did a little bit with it, I found out I had on the stick plate. I didn't even peel off the peel, so I was like, "Oh my gosh! All right." So I don't know anything about it, and then I became obsessed with it, and now I can't even tell you all how many machines I have, and tethering them together. I mean, shit, I did. There are so many things you can do with energy sources, defense mechanisms. Like I got an octopus creature of boxes that are all together, and some have a war machine or whatever. Like you just have different custom stuff, and your section truly like so actually next year I'm going to be having a bigger place. So I actually am thinking about making a whole entire section for creating something out of nothing, getting bigger amplifiers, creating the whole system, and then using a box like, dude, your design at your house is so it's so mystical, dude. Like with the tube TV, with the rays, and just keep it on the beam, and even if you turn it off at night, it's still pulsating out that way. And whether it's they say they used to use showmanship back in the day with stuff with the fog and stuff, but do with the fog and the lights with that stuff, like it's so there's no escaping it. Like it is so saturating and in front of you that you have no the only thing you can say is I when it's gonna manifest when it's gonna manifest, like it's done, it is done once you hit the turn on switch.
For sure. F Kitty Cat, what's up? Always awesome to see you. And Jafar entered the chat as well. What's up, guys?
And Golden JG as well. We are the
Oh,
technology.
Golden
What's up?
JG. Golden JG, what's up? We are the technology. We are. Isn't that well then let me just think about that for a second. Because what we're doing is we're usually like digging up something in the earth to create a metal that we then turn into the copper wiring or the blade or whatever the tool is we're forming, the technology. But that is just an extension of us. It was just dirt, and then we got to it and we formed it into something, so that becomes an extension of us. And so every piece of technology we do, it is like we grab the world around it or us and turn it into whatever we imagine. We're so crazy. No other animal does this.
Well, we are the amplifiers. Like we can put the
Mm.
energy into crystals, and then we can also pull energy from the crystals. We are technology in and of itself, and it's just now we're understanding how to make a tech to amplify. I just feel like it's all about
Mm.
amplification with this stuff. And I mean, even I'll go ahead and get into
Well, let me.
this.
Whoa,
Go ahead.
wait. Sorry. Let me just try to go on a tangent there because I'll lose this if I don't. Is all right. So a human swings. I can swing my arm, and I can swing it somewhat. Um, Maybe I can connect with somebody on the face and make them feel it, but that's not going to be that much. If a lion comes up to me and tries to eat me, that's not going to do a damn thing to a lion. However, if I take a piece of metal out of the earth, take some dirt out of the earth and form it into a sword, that same motion all of a sudden becomes very deadly. What did it do? It magnified my strength. It magnified my power. What was the word you used? It wasn't magnified. Use another word for it. Similar word. But
Amplified.
amplified. Yeah, that's what it did. It took my will and my strength and amplified it by a fucking multiplier there, by an exponential amount. And then further technology, a gun. That again, that is amplifying my intention, my will, and my strength beyond. I mean, I can't even imagine how many multiples it is by that little tiny motion, and so it is amplification. And that's exactly what this technology is doing, passing through every crystal, amplifying your energy, your will. That's exactly what technology does, and that's what this technology absolutely does do. But that's an interesting thought that you have there as well, is the reason that our technology amplifies our power is because it is us. As a creation of us, it is us. Therefore, we are amplifiers. Therefore, everything we create is going to also be an amplifier. But that idea of we are the technology, we are the amplifiers, everything we get, what do we want to do? We want to put a gas pedal on it. We want to make it shoot louder. We want to make it, go faster. Whatever we've got to do, we want to amplify everything. So that's such a killer idea. And that's exactly what this technology does. Because I just got to put a little bit of my intention in there. Just focus while I'm turning the dials. Imagine what I want to have happen. Let that energy come out of me, and then that spark does just completely amplify and creates a portal.
It's kind of weird, but recently I did a multi-level spell that had like different spirits for a manifestation, and I did that. And after a couple of days, I was like, I ain't feeling it. I just want to put a ton of stuff in a bottle and then turn it on and have that energy just constantly funnel to the spirit and be done with it. And that to me felt like way more of a hit, a way more of something working, because other ways it's just like you're shooting the energy, and yeah, it can do some damage, but sometimes you got to shoot through shield, shoot through X, Y, and Z, whatever the case may be, and otherwise you're just like opening up the portal within them, or whatever the case may be, a field over an overlay of the states. And we can't go too far into this because I don't want everyone to know the craziness of it, but there are different like technologies like this that are being harbored against us. And so I personally feel like I want to have my defenses up with as much as I can, not only for my own life and everyday function, having a defense device, but also because there is some programming being going on behind the scenes, and there's people doing things actively, and it makes sense why things can get so just whacked, just messed up, and people like, how can you think that way? Well, Uncle Chucky, I remember talking about, he would like write a township, and he like wrote some like nasty thing for them to be seeing. I think it was porn or something. He was doing something to mess with families or something, to like make the kids go crazy. I don't know the whole thing, but it was still a area selected and intention for that area. Now amplify it, and it's just like a pulsar wave over that area with that intent, nonstop till you turn off that machine. And it's like, well, if Uncle Chucky's figuring stuff like that out, then other people are probably doing that on a different scale with their technology. So let's make sure we have our defenses up.
Yeah. So two things for you is High Frequency Active Auroral Research Project in Alaska, otherwise known as HARP, does exactly this. It is a pulsar device, and so it's using an entire field of antennas, a football field worth of antennas that are doing exactly what we're doing with our devices. They're creating a pulsar wave that they're then using to study the ionosphere. Otherwise, in other words, mess with the weather, create earthquakes, even create hallucinations, instabilities in people. So that's the first place, is up in Alaska. The second place to look into is Bouvet Island, Bouvet. Bouvet Island also has some sort of weird energy manipulation device that's going on that island. The island's over by Antarctica, just off of the coast of Antarctica. And both of these spots, you can see strange radiation coming off of there. And so, yeah, the powers that be, the guys who actually run the science on this earth right now, they're using the science against us for their own benefit. And so It is like in whatever little way I can come into my temple and use it for my advantage and absolutely to seal this place off so their shit can't get to me. So it's so I can take off the tinfoil hat when I get home and just relax. But
Yeah, I mean, it's a part of the liberation packet, like, you have your black candles, you got the lights, then you have your box, like, it's all about the liberation, so,
for sure.
yeah,
Now,
yeah,
Dan, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but Dan's got a great question that I'd really like to try to touch on while we have time, and that's basically a buyer's guide for buying a Radionics box online. I know that you've got some inroads to be able to get people some boxes if they want to come to you for them. But if somebody like Dan is on eBay or one of these sites looking at Radionics boxes, how can he tell if what he's looking at is even worth buying? What kinds of things should he be looking for?
so, I mean, I can even pull up 2 different ones right now here, actually, but before I do that, first off, I like to just see, does it look like good quality in a sense when you look at the thing? Does it just look bulky, chunky, quickly put together? Unfortunately for me, I like to, if I could hold it, you can feel, does this thing have a lot in it or is this nothing going on in it? But I do like there's some new ones. I do have a conversation very soon, and it's quite possible we might have boxes up very, very, very soon. And but these things, I mean, I'll show you one. This right here, I thought it was really cool because of this geometrical shape pattern, and then there was some like where it would be 2 up here, and both these are copper. There's no plastic pads, and then there was a thing down here for a stick plate on some of them too, and then yeah, there's like multiple different numbers of these, and so I thought that just like it looked different. It wasn't just like a 9 dial. Like it had a different structure to it. And this one actually looked like it was like a little bit of sacred geometry. So it really pulled and appealed to me. And that's why I got it. But it is sometimes kind of hard to say because from just like a picture because I've held now many different boxes. And so one you'll hold and it's like, wow, this has a lot in it. This seems like there's a lot of things. And there's other ones it's like, did I just buy an empty box? You know? So
Yeah, and you know what? So 100%. I've spent probably about $20,000 on different radionics devices to learn how this technology works, and so I busted into a bunch of the box. Like almost every device I get, I break it open to see how it works, and a good deal of them devices that I've spent sometimes $1,000 on have nothing inside. You open it up, all it is just dials that are connected to the surface. There's no crystals, no wires, no nothing inside. So it is just literally a wish box because that's all you're doing is just making a wish and hoping it comes true. So, but here's the crazy thing though. Even those still work. Not as good as my whole setup here does. Not as good as a whole scalar pulsar device will, but I still could get the things that I wanted to have happen. So what is making this technology work? Again, maybe it's just the fact that it did have, it had some copper maybe in because it wasn't even a lot of these devices weren't even wired with copper. So all it was dials on a box, but it still worked. And that was one of the things Uncle Chucky told me when before I even started doing radionics. This was probably like 5 years before I even thought about doing radionics. I did a interview with Uncle Chucky, and he said, because I'm like, yeah, how much of the power of the box is from the box, and how much of it's from you? And he says, well, let me put it this way. He goes, when I was doing my experiments with it, I did an experiment, and he tells me all about it, something to do with a library at the college or some crap. So you know how he is with his stories about things. So he told me the whole story about it, and he's like, and then it came true, and even better than I had expected. So then he comes home, and at the end of the day, in order to get some sleep, he would turn his devices off at the end of the day. And so he goes in to turn it off, and he realizes, because he had set all the dials to 0 and then unplug his device. So he sets the dials to 0 and goes to unplug it and sees it's already unplugged. And he's like, whoa, wait, I forgot to plug it in this morning, but it still worked even better than I expected. What the hell? And so he actually went inside, unscrewed it, scooped everything out of the inside except for the dials on the box. So he took all the crystals out, all the wires out, put them to the side, and used that for his experiments. It worked just as good. And so he's like, how much of it is just the fact that we have an expectation that it works, and so it works.
Yeah. When you're doing a magic spell and you're able to release that energy, like I said, you and I talked earlier. In recent ones, I've really had a lot more expression on just like rah, like really letting it all out, and I'm able to have a release from it. I think even if there's nothing on a dial, but on the other side of it, you're still turning it, and there is a form of release in that. Maybe you didn't need to yell, but you just need to say, a little turn there. Okay, all right, that's it. And you just needed a way to release the grip that you've had on it and all that graft. So I do see how in some sense you could say it's a placebo effect, but then it comes down to all those components where you pull them all together, and then it scientifically, in my mind, checks the box to be like, well, that all makes total sense why that works.
Well, and one of the things, I think it was in Connor's whole description. I wish I would have brought my books to have them in front of me and read from it. But from Connor's description of the different components that make this work, the final one he put, and I know this isn't how he worded it, but
I can actually.
Oh, cool.
If you
But
need
there's basically like a place for everything. That the whole system comes together. That you know where to put the sigil, you know where to put the name of the person, you know what to do. And so for each, that's almost a specific part of the power of radionics. Is even if you just created an altar that didn't even have dials on it, but you had a specific place for this and a specific place for that. Well, what does he actually say in his words?
So the analysis and its conclusion, I believe this is the part, and I'll read off these bullet points actually. This is great. The circuitry, the energy accumulation, conductivity, crystal database, hybrid energy sources. I love the way he worded that. That's so cool. The extension effect, the spirit of the machine, micro ritual process. And then he says it in its conclusion, the real magic that exists in these devices is a combination of all these principles and more. Therefore, it is a combination of sacred geometry, circuitry, and numerology, the rates of the dials, its conductivity, crystals and metals, energy accumulation, programming, crystal databases, hybrid energy sources. The device contains a real life sentence, a spirit with its own power and influence, amplified by your connection to the unison between the man and machine. It extends your very consciousness, power, energy, and influence, as well as power and influence of the device itself. Man, dude, wow. Wow.
100%. And Nina has to pop out. Nina, I hope your show goes well. After we're out of here, I'm probably going to pop on and go for a walk while I'm listening to your show. But F Kitty Cat says, "Oh yeah." F Kitty says, "This mad science stuff is fun to play with. I think it also lets you step away and do the handoff instead of blocking by obsession." Yeah. 100%. That you turn the dials and you get a feeling it's done. And that's just the only way of it's done. I don't need to turn the dials anymore. It's done. It's set. You can walk away. A lot of times with ceremonial magic, you don't necessarily get that feeling. It's like, did that all work the way I wanted it to? Did the spirit hear me? Did the whatever? But with radionics, that is it. It's you literally can set it and forget it. Like it does fulfill that magical principle massively.
And
go ahead. No, you.
Okay, so when it does come to that set it and forget it, That's something when it comes to charging things that is so huge. When I feel like I'm doing a ritual to a spirit, I'm almost like I'm giving the energy source to the spirit and they know my intention. Now, how much more can I amplify it by using the candles and carving into that, putting different crystals in there, setting incense, and really embodying that. And instead of it doing the spell and then the radionics to amplify, it's more like you do radionics to make sure a spell works and everything else you put on top of that amplifies it so you know for sure you did the ritual and everything else is bonus. It
Hmm.
really and that's like when it comes to even making the bottle, and that was one thing I made inside of the video course a love bottle bomb that honestly it got so powerful I ended up using it as the fuel for a Zoetic prescription because it was too potent and all it does is get stronger and stronger and it's using even that principle if it's ways to improve yourself putting different herbs and stuff and writing your name and maybe a spirit like Lorray, and just charging that sigil on a box and giving energy source. And then you're just giving yourself that rejuvenated energy constantly and letting it just be like a flow into you, just like those demonic packs. Like you just fill that out and you set different boxes and let that energy source funnel into it. And so you don't have to sit there and be like, oh, well, is the spirit mad that I didn't it's more like, all right, it's a part of the pact itself, those boxes. So that's I know that was ADHD from one to the other, but that totally like it just comes down to it's an energy source, and the fact that you're sitting there with an outlet, well, an output. Of course, an outlet's going to want the electricity. Of course.
Mhm. Well, and Zarafina brings up a great point as well, and I think she's seen this. She's seen this in watching me and how radionics has helped me is that it saves you from ritual hangover, and the reason it does that is
Mm,
because you're giving it the spark that it needs, and then you're walking away. Versus what I was always doing from my entire magical life up until I found radionics was emotionally squeezing myself, even physiologically squeezing myself as hard as I could to get as much energy out of myself as I could. And then the next
mm.
day, I'm like, oh, I got nothing. And then for me, I'm doing rituals every single day. That's just my life. That's just that's just my life. And so with that, with radionics, that gives me actually the ability to do that. It is again amplifying and magnifying my own potential.
And you're not having to necessarily, not every ritual do you need a lancet and use blood, but sometimes I like to add that into it and doing it that with a ton of different things. It might not be at that moment, but you might feel tired the next day. And a way to just give yourself energy, maybe it's the sun, giving yourself energy for that day because you know you got a lot of stuff to get done and take care of. And I know one of my sections is about the juggernaut ritual where it is about funneling those energies into you so you keep going. But, just like everything else, like too much caffeine is too much caffeine. And you have to kind of understand, like, when you get a headache from the box, like there was a point, and I'd write about it, like for a month after a 3 month segment, like for a month, like every day I had a headache. But it's because I always had so much energy, and then I couldn't get sleep that night because I need to turn off the box by a certain time, and then you get stuck in this loop. And I mean, I learned a lot, and I got a lot done, but like also I learned like you can't burn yourself out, and that's something too. Like it helps you not burn out, but you also can't. You can over like jack your system, and so that's why I like working with spirits because what's for instance, if I wanted something to be healed, to Marboss, instead of me just funneling energy into myself and have then my higher self deal with that and all that, and then think I need to turn off the machine at a certain time to make sure I'd get sleep and all that. Why not just ask an intention to Marboss, give him the energy, and then he does that onto you, so he can constantly get energy, and you don't have to worry about flipping it on and off. But it is fun to experiment on yourself as long as you do it, it's not bad shit like poison.
Yeah, yeah, but really, that is the that's my favorite application for radionics is to it almost it's like in the Matrix where they jack in and he's like, now I know kung fu. It's almost like that on a magical level that it's like, oh, I want to be this, or I want to have this kind of energy, or like if I'm dragging myself through the day and it's only 10 a.m., dude, I'll go hit that and just put my lights on red, hit my demonic energy up, whoa, and I'm radiant. And then, you know, for longer term shifts, I want to have more discipline. I want to be able to wake up earlier so I can hit my yoga and stuff, dude. Turn some dials, like set, because what it does is it'll at least one of the things it does is it resets your energy. It retunes your energy system, and your whole world is tuned to you. Everything you observe is tuned to your energy system. And so as soon as you start rewriting and re-encoding your own energy matrix, at that point, then your whole reality starts to become recoded as well.
And that's like using that same box every day, or your grand box. Like, what, as you do it and you build its construct, it gets to know you and the way you want the day to go. And so then you're just programming the day end of itself, and even having this like a massive piece of a crystal and copper, whatever it is, that a box sits on top of. Because then you have that amplification going on as well to be able to use in your magic. And it really kind of gets it is like the Matrix, because you're like, I'm gonna plug in for what the day is, and you know, this is another freebie. I'm just gonna give it out. The master key, just using that, and you know, different feats you want to get better with, just like three different things. You know, maybe it's writing, running, and poetry, or whatever the case may be. And then just having an energy source to that master key, so then the watchers can help you learn those different feats alongside on your everyday journey. So it's like a part of your everyday, and a little piece by little piece. And then you have a couple different machines, and you got different training programs that you've plugged in for that month, and it's just little mini path workings that end up being a master grand path working with spirits and radionics. So it really is endless, and it's not even like trying to be like, hey, God, make sure you check it out, but you need to check it out. Like, honestly, like, if you once you start getting a taste of it, it is an addiction that it's like my healthiest addiction possible. You know, it's like, how do you tap into this and then be able to open things up and maybe get the downloads that Tesla was getting, and understand how to make those microbots or do something or whatever it may be. But it opens up the opportunity, and it makes the gateway for anything possible to manifest.
Absolutely. Now, brother, I've got to jump off with you in a minute, but let's wrap up if you don't mind with
Yeah,
just recapping some of the things, because we've got this release coming out. This is going to be out in a week. When's this come out?
I think this comes out in 2 days. In fact, I'll pull
Okay.
that up right now. Let
No,
me.
I think you're right. I think it does come out in 2 days. So, wow, that snuck up
Yeah.
on us.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and that's yeah. I was gonna mention, you know, more content and stuff. I saw the one email, so there'll be. I know you and I both have some more stuff we're gonna drop as the things
Yeah.
go on, and I'll do a quick recap. Super quick on the powers. We had the first power with the Ascended Masters. We're building up that energy and a part of this Dragon Cup. Second part is the power of the elementals: earth, wind, fire, earth, and third power, the Necronomicon energies. Fourth power, necromancy energy. And the fifth power, the infernal energies. And I know as it goes forward, more of the videos that go around are going to almost be in connection of those next layers of that cup. So I know, I don't know if that will be able to sign up right away, but everyone be sure to check that out and all the videos, and get yourself a copy of Radionic Magic by E.A. Koetting, Connor Kendall, and L the Alchemist. Thank you all, seriously, for being here. Thank you, brother, once again for taking some time aside. Like, I really appreciate it. And all you viewers, thank you so much.
It's been a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. So, everybody go to becomeliving.com/radionics magic to check your copy out. You can reserve that. Or again, this is going to be coming out just within a couple days. The hours on the clock are ticking down at this point. So definitely go over to becomeliving.com/radionics magic to reserve your copy, to pick it up. There's also you absolutely have to sign up for the video training course that comes along with it. Elle and I have put so much into this. It is massive. I think we've got like 7 or 8 hours of solid instruction, demonstration, classes that we've done with JS and with Doc Mulder and with Uncle Chucky, and then also this ritual that we've talked about, this Radionic Nexion ritual. This is going to be off the charts, so get signed up for that too.
Awesome, man. If you haven't checked out his Odyssey account, be sure to go to EA Koetting on Odyssey. So, hell yeah, everyone. Take it easy, and we'll all talk soon.